I'm sorry, Mrs. M. Your baby simply isn't meeting the benchmark for other babies his age. Well, Mrs. M, you should be very, very proud. Your child is literally outperforming every other kid in class. He's the best, the actual best. I'm sorry, Mrs. M. There's nothing I can do. Your child clearly did not meet the requirements for this university. Is it really any wonder why we're comparing ourselves to each other all the time? Well, stay tuned, because in this episode, I'm going to give you one simple hack to put an end to all of that.
I'm Simone, she's TSED. I'm Simone, she's TSED. I'm Simone, they call me TSED.
Like that.
I'm Simone, she's TSED. I'm Simone, she's TSED. I'm Simone, they call me TSED.
Like that. All right, you guys, welcome back to episode 21. You saw that intro. It's like the world has been training us and priming us to compare. How you doing compared to that one? How you doing compared to that one? Are you the best? Are you going to make it? And then we turn around and say, be individual, be unique, be proud of yourself. Do not compare with anyone. To a certain degree, I get it. We are going to compare a little bit. What's going on in the world? And where am I, in relation to all of that? I get it. But I think we've taken it way too far, and now we've lost an entire sense of our identity because I'm trying to see who I am compared to you. And that's where the pain comes in. Sometimes the comparison goes so far that we're no longer even living up to our own standards. We're looking at someone else's standards, which may be like half of my standard, and I'm just trying to get there to be like them. But in fact, my actual goal and dreams and ability may be way up here. So it's time for us to start looking at us and stop looking at other people. And never fear, I've got a class in the academy called Self-Esteem and Comparing. And that's going to give you all of this and 10 times more to help you through this part of life, this comparison thing that's so complicated. But first, let's give you this hack. So on one hand, the world's telling us, yeah, go ahead and compare. On the other hand, you might be thinking I'm saying, you're never going to compare. But it's somewhere in the middle. The hack is, you've got to only compare with yourself. Where were you yesterday and where do you want to be today? How were you acting last week and how do you want to act next week? Compare so that you can see your own personal growth with yourself. Does that make sense? There's an even deeper place I want to take this. Here's the phrase I always use. Be a best friend to yourself. Let's say that again. Be a best friend to yourself. Let that echo within your body, within your spirit, within your soul. Because I'm telling you, the only comparing we should be doing is really with ourselves. And yeah, some of that normal comparing, I guess, that goes on out there so we know where we are in relationship to the world. I get it. But when it comes to that deep-rooted, looking at social media, looking at our peers, looking at our friends, looking at our family and seeing, am I better or worse than them? That's dangerous. And I want us to get out of that completely. And the best way to help us do that is to be a best friend to yourself. Now, when you put these ideas together of being a best friend to yourself and only comparing yourself to yourself, boom, you've got magic. So picture it. You're only comparing yourself with you, and you're being very encouraging and supportive like a best friend would. Do you know what that means? That means that as you grow, you're compassionate with yourself, you're gentle with yourself, you're forgiving with yourself, you're empowering, encouraging, inspiring, and motivating to yourself. That's huge. And sometimes that's what's missing because we're acting and doing our thing and we want someone else to give us the validation. Someone else, tell me I'm awesome, or I want to beat somebody else. I want to go faster than you and do better than you. But that means I'm only reaching for your goals and not mine. So you need to make sure you're starting to tune in, be a best friend to yourself, and only compare with you. And I'm not just talking about physical goals, like I want to get that promotion above this person, or I want to land that contract before that person, or I want to get into the best college and beat that person, or have the number one grade in the class, the highest scores. I'm not talking about just that. I'm also talking about those emotional goals. Like yesterday I was super depressed. Today I feel content. That's your goal. You've got an improvement that you need to notice. As a matter of fact, I'm going to share with you a link in the academy, you know what it is, for the emotional ladder. So you can start to watch and see how you're making improvements for yourself. Compare with your feelings and your emotions and your personal growth. Because if you go from feeling sad and confused one day to feeling clear and optimistic another, that's an amazing accomplishment. You don't need to compare to someone else to know that. All right, guys. So those are the two massive hacks that kind of merged into one. You're going to be a best friend to yourself, and you're going to only compare yourself with yourself. I'm going to tell you right now, if you do that, you're going to see a big difference in how you're feeling. You're going to keep your eyes on the prize. You're the prize. You're following along, you're the prize. Okay. And in the description, I'm going to make sure that you have access to the self-esteem and comparing class in the Academy, as well as the emotional ladder in the free library in the Academy. All right. Use these tools, guys. Make sure you go down there in the description, click those buttons, log in, get in there and use these tools. It will make a difference in your life. There is no reason that we should be walking around lost, confused, and comparing to someone else whose goal has nothing to do with our own. You deserve way better than that, and I'm here to give it to you. So thank you so much for tuning into A Positive Mind with TSED. Every single Sunday, I'm going to be here. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, write your comments, ask your questions, get down in the description and access these resources because I created them just for you. See you next Sunday.
I'm Simone. She's TSED.